Evening, peeps. Zach Ricks here, Mad Poet Files, Geek Survival Guide, madpoetfiles.com, geeksurvivalguide.org, resident aspiring writer and Pokemon expert. Hi, how you doing? I have been having the roughest time getting this latest episode of Mad Poet Files put together. I mean, granted, schedule-wise, I'm on time, but I promised to put up a new story every 2 weeks, and I put up a backfill story instead. And so I said on the last episode that I was going to put up 2 episodes. And the time's getting short. Time is getting short. I'm already a couple days late on Geek Survival Guide. I was trying to figure this out. I had this idea for this story. Couldn't get it to gel. Couldn't get it to write. Couldn't figure out what I was doing with it. Couldn't. I kept on starting it and going, it doesn't seem right. I would go back and I would restart it again. It doesn't seem right. And go back and do it again, and it doesn't seem right. And you know what I figured out? I am way overthinking this. My problem is I am not writing, I'm editing. And you can't edit before you write. You've got to write first. I was overthinking it. And I think that a lot of us do that. If you've got a plan, if you've got something that you want to do, if you've got something you really want to accomplish, you know what? Pick a direction and go. Learn something reading on the internet. You know, when you read on the internet, everything you read on the internet is true. Yeah, well, for the most part. A guy named Bill Whittle, who writes over at eject.com, who I swear I consider to be one of the greatest living essayists in the world right now. Maybe I don't read a lot of essayists. I really dig Bill's stuff. Bill was talking about a guy named 42nd Boyd who came up with this thing they call the OODA loop. OODA. Stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, Act. And this guy, 42nd Boyd, was a fighter pilot, and he discovered that if he was looking what the other person was doing and putting himself in a position and then deciding on his next action and then acting, and then just repeating that process over and over and over again, it made him a much, much better fighter pilot. To the point where they teach this, apparently now, to all fighter pilots. The OODA loop. Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. And what he said was, the faster you can do that, and no, not necessarily the better you can do it, but the faster you can do that, the faster you can observe, orient, decide, and act, the better naturally. Because if you're able to make that loop as tight as you possibly can, then anybody that you're working against who's reacting to you is reacting to you, 3 or 4 iterations of the loop ago.
Front door's open for some reason.
Oh, that's not cool.
It's weird.
Sorry, just found out that our front door was open. Anyway, so yeah, applying that to writing means, okay, it doesn't really work well with writing. What it works well with is what happens on the other side of that. Writing doesn't work well with OODA. Writing is action. Writing is almost pure action. And I don't care if you're a plotter or a pantser or some kind of combination of the two. At some point, you've got to just put your butt in a chair, put your hands on a keyboard, and have enough faith in yourself to type. No way around that. You've got to have that minimum level of confidence in who you are and what you're doing, and that what you're doing is worth something. And if you don't have that, you'll never write. Or you'll write, but it won't do you any good because you'll never show it to anybody. Where OODA comes in is after you've written. OODA comes in as you are getting response from your audience. OODA comes in when you're getting critiques from other people who are reading your stuff. OODA comes in as you're measuring what you're doing to bring new people to your content, as you're measuring audience reaction, as you're determining and going about a social media strategy, as you're working in business, and consider this a business. you should be putting in at least part-time hours on this. And if you ever want to make it a full-time career, eventually you're going to have to put in full-time hours. No two ways about it. And chances are good that you'll need to be putting in a heck of a lot of hours before you get paid full-time salary. And that's just the way it is. And you may never reach that point. But I can tell you right now, you will never reach that point if you don't put your butt in a chair, put your hands on the keyboard, and write. And stop editing. Get out of your own way. In as much as you can, get out of your own head. Point your browser over there at a Google search box and look for Write or Die, and find writeordie. I think it's drwicked.com. Give yourself a word goal, give yourself a time limit, and go. That's what it finally took to get what I was able to write down tonight. And I think I wrote something like 1,800 words in an hour because I finally got out of my own way. And what came out, because I finally just said, screw this, I'm just writing it, what came out seemed pretty good. Yeah, it may not be good. It's kind of hard to judge that when you're, just barely having written it and you're still kind of doing the whole endorphin rush. You're like, woo, I wrote, woo! But, eventually somebody's going to look at it and I'm going to get a response and they're going to be, it'll take me down a peg or two. But there are people out there who have faith in me. My wife has faith in me. I should have faith in me. You should have faith in you. So get out there and do whatever it is you're going to do. If it's writing, forget Uda for a minute and just sit down and write. And if it's anything else, go for it. As you're moving, measure your results. And if what you're doing isn't working, change what you're doing. Rinse, repeat, as fast as you can. Anyway, that's my rant for this evening. I'm not really ranting at you guys. I'm mostly ranting at myself to get the heck out of my own way. Take it easy. Good luck.